Hey guys, let's take a quick detour, just real quick, from the video that I was going to talk about on my channel. Said it was going to be the next video, my all-time top 10 fall homeworks candles. That'll be next, but I'm just going to do a real quick haul from Bath & Body Works. It's nothing special. Everything here, well, kind of special, but nothing real special. Okay, it was special for one reason, and I'll talk about that candle here pretty soon. Yeah, I had a location, Bath & Body Works, in my mall that was starting to put out a ton of fall stuff, core collection, an entire collection, other collection. So I went in there. She mentioned they were putting out all the hand soaps and room sprays and things like that. Of course, the first round of fall stuff, she wanted to get that stuff out. In her words, this was the manager, the store manager, she likes to do things early. So I was more than happy to oblige with that. And yes, everything in this haul was paid for full price. So I know that's a bummer, but hey, things could be worse, could they not? At least I'm paying with this stuff with my own money, and I'm spending my money and wasting my money on full price candles, my own money. So I guess it could be a lot worse. I think some of you might agree with me there. But yeah, before I get into this video, I do want to talk about something that I found at Trader Joe's. You know, this is all kind of a fall inspired video and channel. And it's these right here, the maple pancake cookies. These are really, really good. If you guys have not found these yet at your Trader Joe's, just keep coming back. They'll eventually put them out. I've seen them a couple of times that I've been there. They've been gone a couple of times too when I've gone there. Yeah, I just kept being persistent, went back, eventually found them again. But yeah, that's the maple pancake cookies. Really nice kind of crisp texture to them. They're not a soft cookie, but they're not real hard either. But yeah, one of my favorites, wanted to mention those. So yeah, let's get started in on this video. I've got 5 candles here in this haul. Everything I've smelled before. One of them I'd never owned the candle before. I've only owned it in the wallflower. Let's talk about that one first. And I haven't really necessarily heard real glowing things about this fragrance either, but it's this one right here. It's Apple Macchiato. And most of the candles that I have in this haul are from this collection. Notes on this one are Washington spiced apples, hint of cinnamon, caramel drizzle, and frothed milk. Now, the first thing I noticed when I smelled this candle, and I'm sure a lot of people noticed because this is not the first year this has been out, is the striking similarity to something like pumpkin apple. And yeah, it is very similar to that fragrance. But yeah, once I started to smell it over and over again, I really did start to pick up on that caramel in the fragrance. So it kind of came off as a caramel apple fragrance. Now that apple in here is not a fresh, juicy apple. They kind of use Granny Smith apples, even a Macintosh apple, usually something along those lines when they do a caramel apple fragrance. This smells like very much similar to the apple and pumpkin apple. It feels almost cooked, like a baked apple, and then mixed with that caramel. Really is starting to grow on me. And it does have a certain amount of creaminess too. I feel like if they ever wanted to stop producing pumpkin apple and then just kind of produce this one and put this one out without that one coming out, I feel like they could. This would probably be a good replacement for that fragrance. With the fragrance named Macchiato, there's nothing real coffee smelling about this. I know I'm preaching to the choir. I know a lot of you have already smelled this one before, but this was my first chance to smell it in the candle form, the through-it candle. I'm actually really liking it, and it's starting to grow on me. That's a good one. Apple Macchiato. And then the next one, of course, this is really the whole reason behind this haul. And this was the fragrance that I was extremely excited about. Of course, if you watched my last video in fall candles that I would love to see Bath & Body Works bring out of the vault, I mentioned this was a candle that I mentioned last year when I did that video for fall, and it was my number 2 fragrance. Really, it was 1B. There was 1A and there was 1B. This was 1B, and of course, it's this one right here. It's Blueberry Pumpkin Patch. I'm glad they kept the blue wax. It just kind of adds a little something extra to it. I don't know what's going on here on this label though. I'm assuming that is a cupcake there. But I've never really considered cupcakes a fall treat of any kind. So I'm not really sure about that, but I love the blue wax. That was a great choice. Farm fresh blueberries, ripe pumpkin, and autumn spice. Exactly how I remember it. Exactly how I remember it. Oh, that's a good one. It's just the perfect amount of fall spices with that fresh blueberry. Pumpkin here is also very noticeable in this too. It's almost kind of a push and pull between a fresh blueberry, and then the pumpkin feels almost bready. I don't know what it is about the pumpkin used in this. Maybe it's just the pumpkin combined with the spices, but it almost does kind of feel like a baked bread in this fragrance. Maybe that's the reason behind the cupcake there. I don't know. I don't necessarily love the label, but I do love the fragrance. Really, really happy to see this one back. And to my nose, it has not changed at all. Okay, and then the next one I have is a repurchase from last year. It came out in 2022, and I want to say it came out in 2021 as well. And it's this candle right here, Pumpkin Cinnamon Bun. I actually kind of like that label a little bit. I haven't really dissected this one too much, but it does have something a little bit off fall, not just overtly fall, I guess, but there is something fall feeling about this label. This one was one of those fragrances that kind of played tricks with me last year. I loved it on cold. I love it on cold here too. I mean, I have last year's as well with me right here. Let's go back and forth. Okay, this one from last year is definitely stronger. The oils have really settled into this candle. So yeah, it's slightly different. I'm gonna assume that's the strength of the oils in the candle right now. I recommended this candle in a recommendation video last year, and boy, it was before I burned it. So I'll never do that again. I'll never recommend a fragrance before I burn it. And it turns out once I burned it, it completely changed on me. Once I started burning it, it had this very kind of lactonic, milky feel to the fragrance. Almost like a cheesecake, like a sour cheesecake note in it. And I can actually now pick that up on cold. A year after I've owned the fragrance for the first time, I can now pick that smell up on cold. Yeah, it's just like a sour cheesecake note. It's milky, it's creamy here. And once I started burning it, that really came through. So it turned it from a very bready bakery fragrance to a spicy kind of milky cheesecake. Once I started burning it, and a little bit sour too, a little bit rotten smelling, that cheesecake. I mean, it just didn't smell real great. Once it got down to the halfway point of the candle, then it really started to suffer. So I'm gonna give this one another try. I love it so much on cold, and I loved it enough last year to even recommend it in a recommendation video. But yeah, that's one that, I don't know. Let's see how it does this year once it's burning. That's Pumpkin Cinnamon Bun. And the next one, I've owned this. I think this candle has come out several times since its original release year of 2018. I want to say I've owned it every year that it's come out since then. It's this one right here in the White Barn Core Collection. That's white pumpkin. And the notes on this one are gingered white pumpkin, caramel glaze, and warm blended spices. Now for me, it's that first note. It's gingered white pumpkin. Stop right there. I mean, to me, that's what it is. It's a gingered, warm, gingery, creamy pumpkin. The white pumpkins, for whatever reason, usually smell a little bit more creamy. They're just something different about the way candle companies do their white pumpkins. And the main note that I get here, the main spice that I get here is ginger. It's interesting to see such a dominant ginger fragrance, and ginger can come off, it can pull very warm. It can very much give a warmth to a candle, to a fragrance, especially the way the ginger is used here. It's more of a spicy, warm ginger than it is a fresh one. And it's really mixing well with that white pumpkin. Yeah, one of my favorite candles for fall from Bath & Body Works over the past 5 or so years. Underrated too, I would consider this one. That's a good one. That's white pumpkin. And the last candle I have is a purchase that I made last year, a candle that I bought last year. And I have it also here in this haul in the room spray, and it's spiced pumpkin and patchouli. And here is this year's candle. Just kind of see there. And here is last year's version of the same candle. So same collection, just shaking it up there a little bit with the label and such. Notes on this one are rich pumpkin, warm patchouli, and a touch of cinnamon sugar. Okay, let's smell last year's. Okay, yeah, exactly the same. Something I'm picking up this year that I didn't necessarily pick up last year, and it's not in the notes, it smells like a sandalwood in this, just kind of behind everything else. Behind the spices, behind the patchouli, behind the pumpkin, it smells like a very dry sandalwood note, a woody note to this. Really picked it up too when I sprayed the room spray in this fragrance as well. So I really think that that sandalwood is providing a real dryness to the fragrance. It's not an real earthy, wet patchouli. It's very dry. So if you're not a fan of patchouli, you might like this. Comparing it to something like Witch's Brew, I would consider that much more of a damp, wet patchouli soil note to it. But this does come off very dry, and it smells tolerable, I would say, even to somebody that might not like patchouli. But don't get me wrong, it is patchouli heavy. And yeah, you definitely get the pumpkin spices here in this one as well. I nicknamed this one Halloween Night last year. I really think they need to come up with something spooky for this one. A label that is not this label, not so bland, you know, just something. If they're not going to throw it in their Halloween collection, just give it something a little bit more fall feeling. I feel like this is deserving of that. And I do think, want to say this one's coming out in other collections as well, so maybe they will. Okay, so there is my first Bath & Body Works candle haul of 2023. It's my first fall haul of 2023 as well, my first fall candle haul at least. And I kind of kicked off Bath & Body Works early last fall too. Last summer, but fall fragrances last year. And then it kind of slowly died down as they stopped putting out new things. I don't want to be one of those reviewers, one of those channels that just buys all old stuff just to have things to talk about. Nothing in this haul did I really have a lot of. I don't even think I have any more white pumpkins in my collection. Of course, I had to get this one again. That was just for the sake of buying it again. I had to get it to see how it does. Of course, I don't have any of the apple macchiato in my collection. I have one of the spiced pumpkin and patchouli, and I have one of the pumpkin cinnamon bun. So I felt like at least buying everything again that I've already purchased in the past, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. You're not gonna see individual reviews, unfortunately, with a lot of this stuff, but I will haul my ass off on this channel. You'll see a bunch of hauls and empties and things like that. There you have it. That's my quick first fall haul of the 2023 season. It was a good one. I was actually really happy about this haul. If I had never smelled any of these candles before now, I'd be ecstatic about this haul, but I have, and I've had a lot of experience with several of these in years past, but still, really good haul. And I think that's it. Appreciate you guys watching. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.